Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez and a dancing James DeSanti. We are reviewing today AEW Dynamite live from the Fabulous Forum in Los Angeles, a homecoming for the Young Bucks, and that is where we are going to start at the main event, where we saw the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, the Elite, face off against Death Triangle, in match 7 of their best of 7 series for the AEW Trios Championships. There was a lot that happened in this match. It was chaotic because of the nature of the ladder match. So I'm not going to break down everything that happened, but I'm going to run down some cooler stuff that happened during the match. I would like to point out that Kenny, to start, came out wearing the IWGP US Championship, which was really
such
cool.
A beautiful belt.
It really is.
It's I think maybe my favorite belt in wrestling right now.
It's better than the current IWGP Championship.
The bar is very low there, but you are correct.
I'm just saying. The old one, no. The new one, yes. Anyway, right before commercial, Kenny missed a tope after he did the whole Terminator thing and went through a table. And then, like, directly after that, Matt Jackson came running over and grabbed Pac and put him through a table right next to it, which was cool. A bit later in the match, Matt hit a back body drop to Penta onto a ladder, and then Nick was setting up to go for the 450 splash on it, but Penta was able to fight his way off of it, and then Phoenix hit a Rana off the top rope, sending Nick's hamstrings straight into that ladder. Nick definitely I think he underjumped it, and that ladder was definitely not close enough either way, and yeah, he landed like almost ass first right into that ladder.
I think they were just they were both too wobbly. You could see it. They did not have full balance. They're like, we could probably still do this, right? Oh yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah, not the best footing.
Oof, my ass hurt after I watched it.
Yeah, that was definitely rough. A bit after that, Kenny was fighting Pac for a ladder while he was on the floor, and his hand was stuck in between the two, the sides of the ladder, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. So Pac started stomping it to fuck his hand up, which ended up preventing him from hitting a V-trigger on Pac a few moments later. After that, Matt Jackson he fights off Phoenix and had a clear shot at the titles. But as he was getting near the top, Alex Abrahantes jumped into the ring and pushed the ladder over, preventing Matt from getting to the top and getting the championships, which then caused one Brandon Cutler to come in and spray Alex with the cold spray straight in the eyes. And then Alex ate a V-trigger for his troubles.
Beautifully, might I add. Sold it excellently.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. Alex has been doing a lot better taking bumps since he started running with those guys. After that, Kenny was going up the ladder, but Pac grabbed a hammer again, because hammer drink in these matches, and hit Kenny's bad hand with it, forcing Kenny to fall off the ladder. And then they go to the outside, and Pac hit a Falcon Arrow on the outside, which was pretty nasty. Then Matt and Pac were both heading up the ladder when Phoenix and Penta set up another ladder bridging from the ropes to the currently standing ladder. So nice little horizontal bridge there. Penta was then able to get a hold of Matt and hit a Fear Factor onto the ladder, giving Phoenix a clear shot at the titles. Kenny's able to get his shit back together, and he starts climbing the ladder as well, meeting Phoenix near the top. They get into it. Kenny is able to wrestle Phoenix into a one-wing and angel position, and he hits it from the horizontal ladder onto the mat. As Kenny's recovering from that, Pac just comes out of fucking nowhere, and it looks like he hits a Falcon Arrow, a Black Arrow, but Kenny is able to get his knees up, causing Pac to just go flying out of the ring in pain. And with those two members of Death Triangle down, the Bucks are able to hold off Penta, and Kenny slowly climbs to the top of the ladder and grabs one of the titles, making the Elite the new AEW Trios champions. And now they are two-time Trios champs after they won the inaugural titles. So, James, I'll start with you here, mostly due to your shirt. This match, I think, was a very good cap to this best-of-7 series. We saw something different in pretty much every match that they had in this. I know some people are upset that the Elite ended up winning after everything that happened previously that caused them to lose the titles in the first place. I saw somebody who shall remain nameless say that this was just 7 matches of the Elite jerking themselves off. I would disagree. I
do
thought these
too.
were all great matches. I genuinely didn't know who was going to win this, but I'm very okay with the Elite winning. And like I said, judging by your shirt, I think you are too.
I am ecstatic. Wait, what, Danny?
I said unrelated. You're wearing the shirt coincidentally.
Just coincidentally.
Happened.
Complete accident.
It was laundry day. I was super hyped for this. I was worried going into the main event when it felt like they were going to have almost no time to get the match in, but they snuck a lot of wrestling, a lot of high spots into a very short amount of time. They had less than 20 minutes to do it, entrances included, and they still really delivered, in my opinion. It was brutal. There were a lot of spots that my body is hurting just thinking about, but all 6 men delivered. And I'm happy the Elite won. Admittedly, I don't need them to have a long reign now. If they almost immediately drop the titles to someone like House of Black or House of Black, that would be great.
It's got to be them. If it's going to be somebody, it's got to be them.
So it was a strong. I'm happy that they got the titles that they never should have lost in the first place. So Death Triangle held on to the belts well for a while. You know, we didn't get the best reign out of them, but they had a decently long reign, all things considered. And
I feel like they have the best trios title reign we've had so far. So how could you even say that?
It's not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The best trios champions this year.
Yeah.
So far.
And last year they've dominated this 2022 and 2023.
They really did. And if this is going to lead to maybe the end of Death Triangle, I think this was a good feud to do so. I do kind of wish that the Hammer played a bigger part in it.
Yeah, it was a little subtle.
Yeah, like other than the one hand spot, I can't really remember it playing much bigger factor in the match. And considering how big it was leading into this match, a little weird. And I don't really understand the Rey Fenix of it all, where he was so emotionally conflicted, and that didn't play into it at all tonight. But overall, I enjoyed the match. It was a feel-good moment for the Bucks at the very least, who are California boys who have a big following in California, and I'm sure this was a nice moment for them. So, and hey, Kenny Omega has 2 championships now. Not a bad day for me.
It's not the first time Kenny's been walking around with multiple titles. Yeah, it was cool. The Bucks parents were there. Papa Buck, I saw him, and Mama Buck there as well.
Yep.
So it was kind of cool that they were able to win the titles in front of their parents. I feel like going to Danny here, I'm going to get quite the dissenting voice. So I'm actually very much looking forward to what Danny has to say here.
I'm coming around to it because you know what would be super exciting for the Elite to do? Forget House of Black, forget the Blackpool Combat Club. I want to see the Elite versus the Undisputed Era for the trios titles.
None of those guys are active on the roster.
Where's the lie? You know? But no, in all seriousness, do you guys think when Pac like goes to a restaurant and orders food, do you think he says please to the waitress? Like, could you imagine him saying please to the waitress?
No, he's a bastard.
Yeah, he's a bastard.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of that every week.
Do you think he tips? Do you think he tips the waitress?
Pac is a bastard, man.
I think he puts a small tip down. Phoenix adds cash as people are leaving, and then Penta he takes it as they go. Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's Penta who drops a small tip, Phoenix goes bigger, and then Pac just takes all of it as he goes. I think that's more fair.
Gotcha. Do you think Pac poses for pictures when he goes on rides at Disney World? Do you think he makes a face with the camera?
I don't think Pac goes to Disney World. Doesn't seem like a Disney World type of guy.
I don't know if he's tall enough. You can't picture
Pac with the Mickey Mouse ears on going on Space Mountain.
I would pay for that picture.
I don't know that he's tall enough for the rides.
Oh, shots fired.
Got him. Got him. All right. Well, that being said, the wrong people won this match.
No, we were. Damn it!
Oh my god. I loved this best of 7 series. I will hear no criticism of it that it was a bad idea to have. I think it was fantastic. Every match was good, or every match was great, only except for like one that was only good. So, it sucked, obviously. But like it was a fantastic series. Each match was good. The wrong team won. Why? Why did they win? Why did they need this self-congratulatory circle jerk moment of beating? Why did they have to beat the paper champions to confirm that they're paper champions instead of just having the paper champions win? And then it turns out, yeah, maybe they're paper champions, but paper beats rock, so fuck you guys, But no, instead, it's like, no, this title reign didn't matter. None of this mattered. You could have, you might as well have just won it back in the beginning then, and just had 2 killer matches. The match where you win it back in the rematch. A bunch of evil, self-congratulatory guys. They bully 2 guys out of the company, Cody and Punk, and now they're slowly pushing FTR out, and it's just like who's next? Like who's next? Watch your back, Action Andretti. You're not safe, man. You're not safe.
Well, I mean, he already got hit with a fireball. Clearly, AEW is not the safest working environments.
They have wizards working there. All right, they have wizards.
That's true. They got wizards. They got aliens. They got whatever Danhausen is.
He's a demon.
There we go. You got demons.
He's
you got Abaddon.
There's
There's a lot.
Zombie.
Scary
a fucking dinosaur running around.
Not recently. All right. I've been saving that. I've been keeping that one inside. I don't want to get on that tangent right now.
That's a big one. I agree with him.
I have triggered Danny.
Me too, honestly. I miss him.
Yeah, he should be on TV. This is bullshit. Why is the heel of that feud on? Anyway, no, we're not going to talk about. We can talk about that later, actually. But these matches, all were great. So even though I didn't like that the Elite won, I'm not like devastated by it. It's fine. It's whatever. They can go on to fight Blackpool Combat Club and House of Black, and that's it. Those are the only 2 teams they can face right now because no one else is up there or not busy in another division.
I was gonna say you'll probably get like either like eliminator matches or like not throwaway, but like just title defenses to have title defenses. You probably get one against the only trio of teams I can think of right now are what's left of the Dark Order and motherfucking AR Fox and Top Flight.
Technically, if we want to get into it, Blackpool. Yeah, best friends. The not so best friends right now. And they're Blackpool Combat Club, Jericho Appreciation Society.
I've said Blackpool. Well, Blackpool Combat Club is going to be one of the big ones.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying like just smaller stuff.
Well, it depends on whether Mox actually goes on vacation or not. But if he doesn't, we're going to get Mox, Claudio, and Wheeler versus them for sure. But it's fine that I just care less now that they won, where I got really invested in Death Triangle for the first time in a while. And it reminded me how much I love them all together and love Pac individually. But, do you think Pac went to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid? Can you picture him at Chuck E. Cheese?
Do they have Chuck E. Cheese in England?
Well, any sort of equivalent of a Chuck E. Cheese fun zone sort of place,
I would imagine. And he probably was jumping off of stuff into small children or other small children.
Whenever I think of the UK, I like all children are essentially Oliver Twist over there to me. So
Action Andretti.
Yeah. I think he was just looking for like a little bit of porridge. And I don't know if there is Petey's porridge over there.
Yeah, but do you think he said, "Please, sir, can I have some more"? No, right? We established you don't think he says "please," so
yeah, all right.
Give me some fucking porridge, you asshole.
Get us going, Nick. Keep it going. We don't go on tangents here at the Market Down
Talk is great. I'd rather Death Triangle have won because I joke around a lot. And I mean it. I think the Elite are bad guys. You can't be Christian as fuck without being a little bit of an asshole. But like, I don't. What they did and what Punk did. One camp was more wrong than the other. But I still think like they just shouldn't have gotten the titles back for this. Like the moment's already ruined. There's no version of this that's better than what was originally going to happen, because that moment's gone. It's literally like you just missed it. Like it's like when someone wins. It's Finn Balor wins the title, the Universal title right away, and then he gets injured, and then the moment's gone, and it's just not as good anymore. And like this was more their fault than that was Finn's fault. And there's just no version of this that's going to be better than what would have happened. So you might as well just pivoted fully, gone with Death Triangle. I know we've had Death Triangle versus House of Black, but I'd rather have that. I'd rather have Death Triangle versus Blackpool Combat Club. I want all of these matches, honestly, but story-wise, I'd rather have House of Black.
Just to bounce off what Danny's saying, I don't think whoever won tonight was going to be champion for long after tonight. I don't think the Elite are going to have a long reign, and I don't think Death Triangle, if they remain champions, we're going to have a long reign after this. And I could maybe agree that maybe they booked themselves into a corner with this best of 7, but I still enjoyed the ride. And
the ride was great.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic.
I could also say that after Kenny won the U.S. title, I cared way less if they didn't win the trios title. I just needed him to have gold of some sort. But I'm doubly happy now. But yeah, in general, I could understand being disappointed. I don't think it's a major problem though. And I think we're gonna see, James, that's more of a reason to keep it on Death Triangle. What, that Kenny has belts? Has a belt?
I think so, yeah.
Sheeta walks around with 2 belts. Everybody walks around with multiple belts. It's fine.
And it's a problem. No, it's not fine. That's the problem.
No, it's perfectly fine because it adds to the story. It adds to the story of Sheeta being overlooked by that bitch Saraya for Tony Storm, who hasn't done nothing, hasn't drawn a dime in this town ever.
Jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun. You're also not wrong.
What dimes is Sheeta drawn? What the fuck?
Japanese dimes, sir.
I think those are called yen.
Ones. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true.
Well, Japanese.
Maybe it is.
Man,
Japanese
you were just
dollars, the yen.
obliterating non-Americans tonight so far.
Me? He is.
You're the one like, oh, I think all British kids are like Oliver Twist, and now you're like Japanese dimes. You're all over the place.
Stack of Japanese dimes. Jesus Christ, this show's off the rails. We're not even 20 minutes in. Okay. Look, I love this series. I think anybody with a brain loved this series because it was phenomenal. The wrestling was great. I think great stories were told in every match. Like I said earlier, they were all different and did something unique to that match. So I enjoyed all of these. I think personally for me, I would have been good with either way with who won, because I can see the opportunities for Death Triangle continuing to hold the titles. I would not want to see them against House of Black again because that feud lasted 5 ever. I'm still good on. I'm still good on it.
Not forever, like Blackpool Combat Club versus Jericho Appreciation Society. It lasted forever because people were gone for months in between matches.
That's also true.
That's true too. It didn't stop the matches from happening though. We had variations of it.
Yeah, we had Redbeard.
Yeah, it almost made it like longer, to be honest with you. But now, like, we also now have all the fresh matchups with the Bucks and Kenny that we were supposed to get originally after All Out. So, we have Blackpool Combat Club, we have House of Black, and I agree with James. I think House of Black needs to get those titles sooner than later. They have a match on Rampage, I think, against Eddie and Ortiz, so that would be cool. Just, getting them back in the groove of things. But once they're like really back in the groove of things and they're hot again, titles immediately. And then, and all the other matches we mentioned for the Elite. So I think it's fine. Like I said, I'm good either way. I'm happy the Bucks were able to have that moment in LA. I'm happy they all got their titles back after what happened. So I'm cool. I know I'm being like really neutral and wishy-washy here, but honestly, this is just something I very much enjoyed, and we'll see how it plays out from here. And I could be wrong, and where the booking ends up sucking, and maybe the Death Triangle should have held it. But for now, I'm very content with this. I am more than thrilled about the matches, and we'll see where everything goes. All right, I hear you whispering, Danny.
Excuse me because I burped. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear that. So
way to call him out there, man.
I thought he was talking shit. All right, let's move to the top of the card where we had
I would never.
we had Jon Moxley against Hangman Adam Page. Obviously, this is the blow-off match from when Moxley accidentally knocked Page the fuck out a few months back. I didn't realize how long Page has been out. He'd been out a while. I think they said like almost 70 days or something. Like it was a really long time.
It felt less because he was actually on TV in the end.
Yeah. But he hadn't been in the ring in so long. He's been back for what, like 3 weeks now, I think?
I'd say a longer. I'd say a month.
But he hasn't wrestled in over two. So anyway, the beginning of this match was mostly just Mox seeing if Hangman's head was still as hard as we thought it was. And it was. So yeah, Mox tests out his head for most of the match. And right before the commercial, Mox hit a King Kong Lariat, which is what he knocked Hangman out with in the other match. But Hangman was able to kick out of it. Later in the match, Hangman hit a moonsault to the outside and rolled Mox back into the ring. Went for the buckshot lariat, but Mox ducked it, hit a Death Rider, and Hangman surprisingly kicked out. I honestly thought that was the end of the match because I can't recall if somebody had kicked out of a Death Rider. James,
is there a difference in execution between the Death Rider and the Paradigm Shift?
Yes. So Death Rider, he gets the guy far more vertical than in a Paradigm Shift. Paradigm Shift is more of the dirty deeds. Yeah, the second one. Then the Death Rider. The Death Rider is far more sheer drop, double underhook DDT as opposed to just a double underhook DDT. So after Hangman kicks out, Mox starts hitting elbows and goes for a bulldog choke, but Hangman refuses to tap or pass out. So Mox hit a pile driver that Hangman kicks out of at 1, which just pissed Mox off. So Mox then gets in a standing choke, but Hangman is able to maneuver him and hits a Deadeye that Mox not only kicks out of, but he then bounces back up and hits a stop onto Hangman before collapsing himself. They're both able to get themselves back up. There's an exchange of palm strikes, and Hangman lays in just absolutely nasty lariat, goes to the outside, and lands the buckshot lariat to pick up the win. After the match, Doc Samson goes into the ring to check on Moxley as Hangman is showing concern for him. And then after commercial, Excalibur updates us with the fact that Doc Samson had walked Moxley into the back to check on him. So, Danny, I was thrilled that Hangman won this match. I threw a nice big fist bump when it happened. I was very, very happy. I don't think I love this Moxley has a possible concussion storyline. I don't know if I love this. Oh, he knocked him out, so now the other guy's got to knock the other guy, him out. So we don't need this tit for tat type of thing with concussions for multiple reasons here. One being, I just think it's dumb. Two, I just think playing a concussion storyline is a little. I'm trying to think of it's a bit of a faux pas.
Poor taste.
It's in poor taste. Thank you. So I don't necessarily know if I like it, but I do think Hangman picked up a very big win here.
Do you think Hangman's ever gone to a restaurant and ordered something and he got the wrong order, but he was too anxious to tell the waiter and send it back, so he just ate something he didn't want to eat because he was too anxious to say anything?
Too polite about it. I think pre-winning the title, Hangman, yes.
Yeah, 2020 Hangman, 2021 Hangman, yeah.
Yeah, but this Hangman, he would be like, "Excuse me, this is not my order."
And then, I'm so sorry though. Tell the chef I still love him. But
yeah, he was saying, "I'm sorry, but this is my order."
Yeah, okay.
He's far more assertive. Sorry.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. No, sorry, you're answering my question. Thank you. But this is the absolute best Hangman has ever looked, I think, in the whole run in AEW. This was better than his entire title run. this is better than everything, but maybe is his victory.
Over Kenny.
Yeah.
I mean, I got
That's
that. I got that. And when they won the tag titles,
No, I mean, that was great. That was good. But like, he felt, this is the most legit, this is the most like a main eventer he's ever felt. He felt
I
more
think so too.
like a top guy beating Moxley than he did beating Kenny. Like,
And Brian, I'd say, honestly.
yeah, well, because he brought Brian down. He ruined Brian. But like, you know, this felt like this whole match felt like a huge deal. This is just one of those great feuds. This is the type of match be on the show that made the show a big show. It's like it just made the rest of the show better. Starting with this was great. This could have main evented any pay-per-view. This could have main evented any Dynamite. But opening with this was just like, oh, this is the kind of night we're having. We're opening with this sort of freaking match. Are you kidding me?
exactly what
This was a big deal. This made Hangman look amazing. And this was like a good loss for Moxley too. Whereas like the whole MJF stuff with the title kind of felt like that was marred, not Moxley's fault, but he was the guy in that position because of what the Bucks and Kenny did. But so that I felt like that was like Mox doesn't look great in that feud. Mox looks perfect coming out of this. He doesn't look weak coming out of this. This loss doesn't feel like like this isn't a step down for him. This was like bro, you made this guy. And I know it sounds weird to say about a guy who was just champion a year ago, but like, this was it for Hangman. That being said, I hated the concussion stuff after. That was stupid. Yeah. But I don't really want to talk about that. So I'll just say that Hangman, yeah, hands down, this is the best he has been since coming into the company, except for the peak of his white hot baby faceness and winning the title. But yeah, this was it. If this guy was world champ, I'd be like, bro, I'm all for it. He shouldn't have lost the title right away to Brian. If this was the Hangman we had, top guy, this guy would not hesitate to send the wrong meal back to the chef.
Are you hungry?
No, not at all. The chef will come out and apologize to Hangman. But I'm so sorry, sir. Imagine this guy walking into a saloon. All right, the fucking roughest, toughest guy there is gonna move away. Maybe even offer to buy him a drink because he wants to appease this version of Hangman. Anyway, do you want to throw it to James?
Well, I almost don't necessarily disagree with you about this being the best Hangman we've had outside of his title win, but I want to disagree, and I don't think I can.
It's weird because I'm in the same boat. I think I would word it differently, but go ahead.
Okay, well, what if I worded it like this? Hangman only started being good now. Does that offend you more?
I disagree stronger.
There you go. Yeah, see, I think I worded it perfectly the first time. Now that I showed you that example.
No, it's not even that. Like I think him winning the tag titles and that run was really good. Obviously, I think the run up to the title and then winning the title was good. I would agree that his title run actually fell a little, I don't want to say flat, but it could have been better. I would agree with that. But the best Hangman, I don't know. This is definitely the most emotional we've seen him in a while. And I think that helped a lot more because this felt far more personal than anything he's had probably since beating Kenny. Especially because this wasn't even just about like Kenny being a dick to him and him like needing the title to like validate himself. It was more about Moxley inadvertently, almost it was affecting his livelihood and his ability to like take care of his kid. And it was something that really resonated with him and obviously resonated with a lot of people. And it was a much different fight and emotion for Hangman here. So it's definitely a different one. I don't want to necessarily say better, but it's something we haven't gotten, and it really helped elevate him in this match.
Okay, let me put it like this, and then we can skip James and move on to the next.
Are you just trying to piss us off? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think because you're not pissed off. I think we're kind of on the same page where it's just you guys are a little trepidatious about it. But okay, let me put it like this. This version of Hangman should be the number one contender at Double or Nothing to go up against MJF. Whereas before this, he should have only been a TV contender for like a Bash at the Beach or whatever. But like this Hangman, I want to see a pay-per-view match with MJF, the baby face of the company versus the heel of the company. That chase, because you know we're gonna get this match at some point, but I care so much more about just the idea of it right now than I did 6 weeks ago. Like that's how much of a difference is. Like I want Hangman to be the Double or Nothing or the All Out guy, the guy closer than we have right now. I don't want him facing MJF in March. I don't want him facing on TV anymore. I want him to be one of the two pay-per-views, the one of the two spring summer pay-per-views, going for the title, because that story will be so good. So I have so much more faith in how good that story will be now than I did 2 months ago. And I thought it would be good when MJF won the title. We're like, well, you know it. Hangman's on that list of names of people that are going to try to dethrone him. But tell me that match doesn't sound so much better now with this Hangman we have right now, where he feels like he's I don't want to say he feels like he's a credible contender to the guy who was just champion a year ago, but like, you know, like the Moxley didn't feel like a credible contender and he was the champion defending against MJF. Like Hangman now does feel like if he goes against MJF, even though we don't think he'll beat him, he still feels like a credible challenger, more credible than Bryan does right now. And we love Bryan, and I'm saying that, like, you know.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. This is the best version of Hangman, like, because there's just so much to it. It's not just this match. It's everything around it. It's the promo about forgetting his son's name. Imagine what MJF will do with that in that feud. This is the best. No, this is the best Hangman. I'm doubling down. This is the best. This could be the best run of his AEW career so far.
So, because I'm genuinely afraid I will get skipped over, I'm not going to wait to be introduced. So
I would never do that to you.
on purpose.
So I think I was able in all that time to really put it together how I feel. And I think this is the most legitimate Hangman has felt. But I don't think that means that this is the best Hangman has been. Hangman, in the storyline leading up to him winning the title, needed to play the underdog, the insecure, uncomfortable, anxious millennial cowboy. That was the perfect character to win the title. That was his perfect character to win the title the first time, because he didn't feel validated until he proved it to himself. The problem is, the moment he won the title, it all went downhill afterwards, and it's basically taken until this feud to make him feel like he was that guy again.
Yep.
And I think a lot of Eric in the chat said Hangman clearly felt the pressure when he was champ, but his matches were always good. I got to be honest, I kind of disagree. I don't think Hangman felt the pressure. I think they booked him in really poor ways. His first.
I thought you were going to disagree and say if the matches weren't good.
Oh, no. I liked his matches.
Yeah, the matches always delivered. It was how they were set up and everything around them.
I'd say the second Adam Cole match didn't really deliver.
Yeah, I'll give you the second Adam Cole match.
But other than that, they delivered.
But he faced Bryan Danielson, somebody we all actively wanted to be champion the moment he entered the company, and then they turned Bryan heel against him. It was weird. Nobody was really on board with it. After Bryan was Lance Archer. After Archer, after Archer,
the token Archer defense
feud, exactly. After Archer was Adam Cole, somebody who can clearly talk circles around Page. Like, I love Hangman, but his promos are either great or forgettable. And Cole, even when he's having a bad day, is going to deliver a better promo. So he, again, another talent that really messed with his mojo. And I think he had one other defense in there somewhere, but
Lance Archer.
God, I really hope there was another one. But regardless, he never got to feel like the confident champion that he should have. And they even played into that with Brian. That Brian is the best wrestler in the world, and Brian didn't even want to face Hangman. He said he wanted to face Kenny instead. He immediately devalued Hangman as champion. And then after he lost the title, he floundered. There was no coming back. He lost the fatal 4-way for the IWGP title, and then he did get hurt. So it's really been a weird road for him from the moment he won the title to now. But I agree with you. As I was watching this match and he got that pin on Moxley, I thought to myself, wow, is this the biggest win of his AEW career? And it shouldn't be. It is.
Top 3.
It shouldn't be, because he's a former world champion. He's a former tag team champion. He's defended the belt against Bryan and Cole and Archer. But it feels like we're saying this wasn't a flash in the pan for Hangman. This is Hangman, the main eventer, taking out who AEW has described as the heart and soul of the company. So I'm very excited for what happens for Hangman next. I don't look forward to anyone taking on MJF, because I'm just expecting all of them to lose. But I agree with you. This is now, just like anxious millennial cowboy Hangman was the perfect Hangman to take on Kenny, I think this Hangman is the perfect Hangman to take on MJF. And it sucks it took this long, but the journey is now worth it, in my opinion. And I would just like to say to those who have been joining us, welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. If you like what you see, please leave a like on the video. And if you want to keep hearing us talk, hit that subscribe button. It's annoying as hell, but here you go.
I would like to add, what's your favorite Mega Man game, since you have that shirt on?
Oh God, I haven't played in years. I can honestly say I can't remember the last Mega Man game that I played.
Cool. Well, Chad's not here, so I'm just gonna say the best ones are the Battle Network Mega Mans, Red Sun, Blue Moon, Team Proto Man, Team Colonel. The 6 ones, I don't remember the name, but those are pretty good too. But anyway, Rev, what happened after this great match?
I was going to say, Eric in the chat has confirmed for us that there was one more title defense for Hangman, and it was against Dante Martin. So.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. Back when Dante Martin was losing to top guys on TV every week and getting his little mini push.
Hangman was really not allowed to feel like a top guy.
He really wasn't. He was like an afterthought as champion on the show. Yeah, it was weird.
I feel like, but then he beat top guys like Bryan and Cole twice.
Yeah, it was such a weird just a weird title reign.
He felt lesser than Bryan and Cole. He felt higher than Martin and Archer, but being higher than Archer and Martin isn't really saying much.
And Cole and Bryan were like the shiny new toys at the time too, so you could kind of see why that would happen.
And then the Punk feud, which
and we all know how that ended up going.
Fantastic.
Let's move on to what happened after we came back from commercial, and Tony Schiavone was in the ring for an interview, and he announced that he had no pleasure in introducing his next guest.
I
thought it was going to be MJF.
Me too. I really thought it was going to be MJF.
And nope, it's Adam Cole, baby. Back.
I just realized we probably should have opened with this if we wanted to close with the main event. Sorry, we're talking about the show on the show, but
we'll inside baseball for you guys here. Anyway, Adam Cole is back. Obviously, he has had a litany of injuries, including some pretty nasty concussions. So we haven't seen him, I think, since almost called it Wrestle Kingdom, Forbidden Door, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
Where he got his second concussion, which is really bad. Anyway, Adam Cole is back, and who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby? Apparently, there's good news and there's bad news. So the good news is that Cole says that he has a newfound appreciation for pro wrestling and life in general. He then runs down his litany of injuries. Like I said, he had those 2 concussions, said he had a shoulder that was just absolutely torn to shreds, and tells everybody what's going on with him the last 6 months, all the side effects that these concussions have been having on him, dizziness and vomiting and waking up in the middle of the night, like basically having panic attacks. Sounded brutal, to be honest with you. And he also thanked the fans for all their support, despite the fact that there really hadn't been any news on Cole in the last 6 months. We haven't heard much from him outside of him hanging out with the party for a little while the last few months. But mainly on the injury front, it's been pretty, and the wrestling front, it's been pretty quiet. So he was thankful for all, to all the fans for still supporting him, whether or not he was coming back, because there genuinely was a time where we were uncertain whether or not he could. He then gets to the bad news. But the bad news isn't about him. It's actually for the AEW locker room. And Adam Cole is officially back, baby. So he then says this is the start of the new era for Adam Cole. And he makes a promise that no matter how long it takes, he will get to the top of AEW. So, James, I'm psyched. Adam Cole is back. Adam Cole is healthy, which is more important. But he's back. He's apparently seems like he's cleared to wrestle. And I'm very excited to see what he does because he left the heel. And now I think he was going to start feuding with the Elite, if I remember correctly. But now he's a face. Unfortunately, the rest of Undisputed Era aren't there. Kyle O'Reilly's still hurt. I don't know where the fuck Bobby Fish is doing. But I'm excited to see what's in store for him, for Cole, that is.
So before Cole got hurt, there was a growing rumbling amongst, the fan base that Cole might have been getting a little stale, that people were getting tired of the same act from Adam Cole. And realistically, I understand that. That is somewhat fair. Adam Cole,
I remember talking about it. We were kind of being like, it's just, who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby? Hits the notes, says the same shit, and then leaves, and then gets beat by Hangman twice.
Yeah. Adam Cole has essentially been the same character in professional wrestling since Ring of Honor, since his time in Ring of Honor. When he got signed by NXT, it's because they wanted the guy from Ring of Honor. When he got when he left NXT to AEW, it's because they wanted the guy from NXT. So it's been a lot of the same for a very long time, and all that time he's been a heel. He hasn't been a babyface in years. So if this is Adam Cole's first babyface run in a long, long time, I'm excited because of the matchups we're going to get. We're going to get him going against a lot of heels. We're going to get a great talker going against a lot of great talkers. I know in the chat we had, or if it wasn't, in the chat, Eric was saying Adam Cole could be the guy that takes down MJF a year from now. I would love that promo battle. I think that would be a fantastic promo battle. And I'm very much looking forward to Adam Cole winning gold in AEW, whether it's the world title or the TNT title or the All Atlantic title.
The All Atlantic title seems like a good shot for him when he gets his feet back under him. I don't remember if he's had an Orange Cassidy feud. I
don't think he did.
It was too long.
I was going to say, I thought he did.
When?
Remember they had the was a false count anywhere match or whatever, and they fell off the stage together.
Yeah.
Or he pushed him off the stage.
James is so distracted by the cat.
He had too many low blows. That was when he.
The low blows were a lot during that feud. I am useless now. I just see the beautiful cat. So all right, that's fair.
Yeah, the positioning of the All Atlantic title seems like a good shot for him, but facing Cassidy again, especially if he's coming back face, I don't know if that's the feud that we want or need right now.
It's weird because I was very much on the boat of him winning a Ring of Honor title, but now that he's a babyface who has a lot of support, I don't want him near Ring of Honor. I want him in AEW.
And now I almost wish him coming back babyface. He took Jericho out.
Right? Yeah, that would have been good too. But I think Adam Cole, who has a lot of support from Tony Khan, has a lot of support from the fan base, and is a proven entity. I think he's got big things coming. It's a crowded roster right now. I don't really know where he fits, but it's definitely not in WWE.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of mentioned how crowded the roster was last night when we went live for all the WWE nonsense that ended up not being true, which we'll talk about in tomorrow's podcast. But yeah, the roster is very crowded, but you need to find a spot for Adam Cole. Like, you signed him to a fairly, I imagine, lucrative contract, and he's a guy you should have on your television. He's a guy who draws in, who draws eyes in. So I got to imagine they find a spot for him. I'm sure that he's not going to get into a feud maybe right away, unless, maybe he gets into something small. He's, like I said, he's got to get his feet back under him. He's got to get his feet wet. I imagine he's going to have quite a bit of ring rust, and he's going to have to, just get back in the groove of things. So title shots, I don't think are coming immediately, but I'm trying to think of just somebody quickly he can have a nice little feud with, depending on whether or not they keep him heel or face. I'll think about it. Well, Danny, how hyped are you for Adam Cole's return? I know the cat.
So, I'm be honest, this was perfect. So, I don't know how much I really have to say about it because it was perfect. So, let me ask you guys. You think when Adam Cole and Britt Baker go out to a bar, do you think any of the guys at the bar look at Cole and think, I'm going to go hit on that guy's girlfriend, and they go hit on Britt Baker in front of Adam Cole because they don't respect him? Do you think that happens?
No.
James?
I genuinely don't.
I don't think so either.
No, okay.
Cole just has such a lovable face.
How can you get mad at Budge?
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I'm most excited for. I'm most excited for him to be back on BTE. Especially if he starts hanging out with Reynolds and Silver again. I'm really hyped for that.
I think he is very, very lovable, but I don't think he has a nice looking. I don't think he looks like an asshole. That's the whole point. He has the face of a douchebag.
No, when he smiles, it lights up a room.
But that's because of his personality. Just looking at him, it's like, oh, that guy is a douchebag. That's the whole point.
When he's wrestling, especially as a heel, yes. If you go watch him in the party and stuff like that when he's streaming, he does. I can't see. It's so different
because that's his personality. Again, you guys are conflating his personality with his douchebag face.
Because I think Sammy Guevara isn't that bad of a person, and I've seen his personality on the vlog, but I think he still has a very punchable face, no matter what.
I think Cole is very capable.
No disrespect.
Fuck him. Lots of disrespect. I think
why
Cole,
would he do?
So much. Andrade. I mean, he was a hero for the Andrade situation. But wow, how hard did I turn on Andrade? Anyway.
Oh God.
Reasonably hard.
Cole has the ability to smile with pure earnestness, and you just want to hug him. And then he has the ability to smile with that smugness,
just pure evil.
Yeah, he's able to turn both. It's fantastic.
Anyway, this is perfect. I love a good news, bad news delivery where the bad news isn't actually a bad. It was perfect, man. That was so good. It is not clever, but it is cute. And it's tried and true, and it just worked. And I loved it. It was just perfect delivery. And now the bad news. Bad news is not for me. He built the crowd up to such a boiling point. That simple line made them erupt, and he sent them over. The crowd was hot all night. Can we give some props to the LA crowd?
They
fucking
shout out to
they've been hungry.
So good.
They were so hungry for AEW.
They haven't been there in so long, too.
And AEW delivered for them.
This is the best card of the year. And I know, but honestly, this is one of their best cards in a long time.
Yeah. So this was such a pleasant surprise. And like Eric said, he could see Cole being maybe the guy taken from Hangman. And he's up there, man. That's the beauty of. I know you can look at MJF's title reign and think, oh, he's just going to beat everyone. He probably is, but. You know who those everyone are? Fucking Brian, Hangman, Cole, Kingston. Because Kingston's happening. He says Kingston's name all the time. It's going to happen at some point in this title reign. It's a damn near perfect list of people to go up against. And if one of those guys is going to be the one to beat you, there's really no bad options there. That's the beauty of this. But hopefully it's just CM Punk. But, I think I speak for everyone when I say that, but especially everyone here. But Yeah, it
I
was a
want him
perfect
back.
segment.
I want him back.
It was a perfect segment. I'm very happy to see Adam Cole back, but also, how dare you guys talk about him going for the All Atlantic? Just because Orange Cassidy have worked his ass off to make that title mean something doesn't mean you can just
It
give it
changed
to
him,
a guy
though.
like Cole.
It
Okay.
changed him though. Look what he did to his best friend Trent.
Yeah, Trent, the nicest guy, the best of the best friends, the bestest friend of the best friends.
Trent is a dick in real life.
Trent is misunderstood. Anyone with a mom like Sue has to be at least a little good.
Yeah, so how dare you guys? But yeah, this is a perfect segment. If you excuse me, I gotta let a cat out of my room. Hold on.
All right. Well, Danny.
Don't hold on. Keep going.
I was gonna say, well, while Danny takes care of his cat, I do actually really like this question from Eric in the chat. Who's Cole's first feud for Revolution?
I don't know. It needs to be a mid-card guy of like high caliber. Theoretically, it has to be a heel. I'm scared it's gonna be Jay Lethal.
Ooh, wait, little Ring of Honor. We're answering Eric's question of who do we think Cole's first feud going into Revolution may be.
I said that it needs to be a heel. It needs to be somebody in the mid to upper mid card. And my head just keeps circling around Jay Lethal, even though I really don't want that.
Samoa Joe?
I think Jay Lethal's better than now than he was 2-3 months ago.
Oh, I agree. But then he's going to get sucked up into the slap nuts of it all. And then it's who's going to be partnering with Adam Cole to take on the numbers game. And it's not going to be Kyle O'Reilly. And God help me if it's Bobby Fish. So, no.
And it won't be the Bucks because that's just out the window right now, I would assume. Samoa Joe doesn't sound awful.
I disagree because they had a very underwhelming match in the Owen. I don't really want to see that again.
Oh,
that's fair.
I forgot about that.
And I also don't want him near a Ring of Honor title. I'm kind of holding firm to that. I don't want him near a Ring of Honor title.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be for the title. Should it be that? Juice Robinson? Or is it too early for Juice to lose a high profile? I mean, he's going to lose on Friday.
A lot of people were reminded that Juice even works for AEW tonight. So
I genuinely forgot.
Like he wrestled that.
His wife's the star of that couple. You know.
I forgot that he's with Tony Storm. No, it can't be Juice. I don't know who it could be. In my head, I just keep thinking about the Jay White rumors, and I want Cole versus Jay White because of how Forbidden Door happened.
Eventually, yes.
But
no, not eventually. Get it over with soon.
Yeah.
Well,
eventually. Don't
I'm sure we'll talk more about the Jay White rumors on the pod tomorrow. But
sorry, Jay White. Never mind. I thought you were talking about Lethal. Okay, I mean, don't do that right away. Never mind.
Yeah. So I mean,
what a roller coaster.
Yeah, if he does eventually get to AEW, yes, that needs to happen. But yeah, you're not wrong. Like Lethal in a vacuum sounds like a good idea, but with the Jeff Jarrett and the slap nuts running around, I'm not necessarily feeling it because you're right. Then he needs a partner and this and that and the other thing. It's just.
Is there a problem? There's no formidable heels.
Mid-card heels?
Yeah. No, they're there. It's just they're always losing to the point that it's like, who cares? I don't even want to think about them.
So they're not formidable anymore.
Yeah. You don't have they don't have like a Miz type of guy or like he's going to win.
MJF.
No, but I meant like he's going to win.
Imagine
a mid-card title, hang on to it, be an asshole, but also be like almost like a gatekeeper type of deal.
All right, we're gonna go through the heels of AEW.
We have too much of a side tangent.
We're gonna all right, fine, never mind that.
If you're gonna start with Aaron Solo, we're not doing this.
Is he gonna be QT Marshall? Like,
it might be. You say that as a joke. It might be.
If he wouldn't, honest to God, if he wouldn't get sucked up into the vacuum of the JAS, Sammy would have been good.
Andrade.
Swerve.
Swerve
needs to win though.
Yeah, and Cole could take the loss. I think.
You think Adam Cole's first pay-per-view match back, he's gonna lose?
He lost the last one.
Yeah, but it was in a four-way.
Yeah, but now he's returning as a babyface.
Yeah, that also. I don't know.
Matt,
I would be into that.
I do got it. Oh my God, I'm
Ooh.
amazing. Guys,
Ooh.
Tony
Ooh.
Khan, you're welcome.
Ooh.
Matt Taven.
Who?
I know. Listen. Acclaimed. Listen. Adam Cole was part of the original Kingdom. It was him, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett. So they want to recruit him back because it's not a pay-per-view feud. God damn it.
Brian Cage. Okay.
Okay, no, you said it right there. Mike Bennett. He could feud Mike Bennett, and then him and Britt could have a mixed tag
with
against Maria and Mike Bennett. And there you go. It'll be once again Mike Bennett can ride the coattails of his wife to get on TV.
I like my Brian Cage idea. Let's move on because we're gonna taking up a little too much time here. And speaking of the acclaimed, they had a backstage promo. Apparently, they're being immortalized on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Friday on Rampage, alongside some great people like Johnny Depp, Roseanne Barr, and Donald Trump, as they mentioned.
So weird.
Can I just
I think
weird?
Danny got
That's
the
right
most
up.
kick out of that.
Yeah, I don't. How is that weird? Have you seen Max Caster before? What? Like, that was the most on-brand fucking shit. Like, he literally had his tongue in his cheek when he said it. But I would just like to say right here, I feel like I've said it before, but I would like to put this definitive statement out there, and I'm even gonna pause so that maybe we'll clip it, maybe we won't. The Acclaimed are better at doing sports entertainment than the Jericho Appreciation Society, who don't do as much sports entertainment as the Acclaimed do.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't even think that's a hot take.
It's not that it's a hot take. It's just it's something that needs to be said. It's not spoken aloud. It's something I think everyone agrees with, but no one has thought about or just said. So it needed to say it.
All right, I'm
That being
glad
said,
somebody
the Jericho
did.
Appreciation Society segment was good.
Yeah.
Later, we'll get to that.
It had to be said. Might as well be me. All right. After that, we had Jungle Boy and Hook, which they were calling Jungle Hook, and I refuse to call them that from here on in.
Yep.
Versus Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. So Jungle Boy and Hook were in control to start the match for the most part until Stokely got involved. So Jungle Boy then went to hit a tope on him, but Bill stood in his way, grabbed him, and went for the chokeslam on the apron, which was broken up by Hook on a really nice baseball slide. Jungle Boy went back in to go fight Moriarty, but he had recovered, and he was able to take control and tag in Bill, and then they just start dominating. Randomly during the break, in the picture-in-picture, we saw Ken Jeong for some odd reason. I guess he was just there. Jungle Boy is then, after the commercial, able to make a hot tag to Hook, who hits a Northern Light suplex onto Lee and goes for the pin, but it's broken up by Big Bill. Hook then gets up and goes chest to chest with Big Bill and another really cool stare down. And then he tries to suplex Big Bill. Doesn't work. Tries to suplex him again. Doesn't work. So then Bill just hits him with a clubbing blow and tosses him into the corner. And then he goes in for the splash, but Jungle Boy tagged himself in. I think he pushed Hook's head down or away, so Hook didn't really take the brunt of it, and hit an enziguri as Bill crashed into the corner. So then Hook is able, after Jungle Boy hits a missile dropkick, Hook is able to finally hit the really nice suplex onto Big Bill, who rolls out of the ring. Moriarty comes back in, but Jungle Boy is able to fight him off, get in the snare trap, and has Moriarty tap out. So, Danny, this was cool. I know we had one of the biggest baby faces in the company in Hook teaming up with one of the biggest heels in Jungle Boy, but it was nice to see them team up against just two absolute douchebags. And honestly, this was a fun match. And Jungle Boy in his hometown, this was really cool.
Yeah, and you put it well because, like you said, it was one of the biggest faces and one of the biggest heels teaming up, and that could work. Like, I think we all fondly look back at the original interactions of Drew and Sheamus when Drew was champ and Sheamus was a heel, but they were still friends. You know, like, so heels and baby faces can get along and work together, and that is entertaining to watch. And like you said, it was his hometown, so you know, I can't blame the people of LA for being biased and cheering, even though it's a heel and they're not supposed to. people in Long Island cheer MJF. You know, we never give the people of Long Island a hard time. Am I right, James? I am right. He agrees. James would never disparage Long Island. But this was a lot of fun. And, you know, I'll put it like this. Oh, God, I'm so positive tonight. It's insane. That being said, I was so bummed when I saw Lee Moriarty making an entrance. I'm like, oh, this show was riding a high. And this is such a crash after that high. You had that killer opening match. You had the Adam Cole segment. You have the Acclaimed. And then Lee Moriarty's music hits. And the Firm is here. But then this match was perfect. It was the perfect length. It didn't go on too long. It had Hook. Hook's back on TV. It's fantastic. How great is it having Hook back on TV, right?
I also loved how big Taz marked out when Hook suplexed Big Bill.
The fact that the immovable force versus whatever, the unstoppable object, immovable force, or vice versa.
Unstoppable force means an immovable object.
Sure. The train leaves the station 17 miles per hour. You know, the fact that that version of this was Hook and Big Kaz was so, and also this is the best Kaz XL has ever looked. That was I loved his selling of that. His selling of like just being more shocked than in pain. Him rolling out and just be like, how this guy fucking did that to me.
Yeah, how this little run suplexing me.
Yeah, that was fantastic sell. This is the best the Firm has ever been. This is the best they will ever be. Pack it up, boys. It was a good run. Kaz, William, Billiamson, whatever you want to call yourself, pack it up, go leave for a bit, come back with a new partner, maybe an old partner, you know, who can destroy MJF on the mic, you know, and then try again and then face the Acclaimed. And I'll just love every fucking second of that. I was just joking, but now I really want that. Now that I've said it. But yeah, this is the best. This is a show of people looking their best, and the Firm look like the solid jobbers that they were born to be. So good on them. No more of them, please. But what a great swan song for them, right? What a way to go out on bottom, but looking great doing so. You know, fantastic all around. Except for Jungle Boy, you're a bad guy.
See, the Firm are who should be those mid-card gatekeeper heels, but they lose all the time. That being said, Ethan Page, Adam Cole, Revolution, book it.
Might as well. That makes the most sense.
Yep.
I'm not excited, but it makes sense.
It works. Ethan Page.
No, yeah, it worked because. Oh, do you have a question? Wait,
for you?
I feel like for me, okay.
Yeah. Do you think Page's stock has risen these last few weeks? I think so.
Hangman Page, absolutely. That was the whole beginning of the show was about. Were you not?
The whole second segment we did, James.
But no, because this is why I'm not. It makes sense, and I think most people would be excited about it. But me being reasonable, you know, all I see is Ethan Page cutting the same exact promo that he's always cut. You can't start with the chip on your shoulder and say you've underappreciated and overlooked. Like, that can't be your shtick from the get-go, and that's all he's been saying for 2 years at this point. It's and I don't want to see Darby it against Cole.
Flight of stairs.
Like, you know, it's just I feel like it's going to be a time where everyone thinks the promo is good, and I'm like, but it's the same thing. It's all, there's nothing, it doesn't mean anything because he always says this and nothing comes of it and it's meaningless. But that mean on paper, it makes perfect sense. I think you actually nailed it. I just don't want it. But like, it makes
I don't necessarily want it either, but I think it's a good way to just ease Cole back in, get him a big win on a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
the promo battle would probably be fine. And there you go. And that's what we really needed. But back to the topic at hand. James, what did you think about this Jungle Boy and Hook team up?
I love the team up. For two guys that I didn't think really would have a lot of chemistry, they worked very well together.
Hard agree.
It's not something I necessarily need to see long term, but I love recurring wrestling friendships. You know, they don't always need be a team. They don't always need to be involved in each other's stories. But I like this idea of, you know what, these are young people in a locker room. They're probably buddies in some way, you know? So I do enjoy that aspect of it. And if it, what? Oh no,
Okay.
I did something stupid.
No, like, because you said they're both young guys in the locker room, so they're probably buddies, but like, and they may very well be, but yeah, I can't picture Jungle Boy hanging with Hook and doing the things that
At the strip
Hook,
club.
yeah, likes to do for fun. I can't really picture Jungle Boy in that environment, you know. Do you think when Jungle Boy goes to Hooters, he says, "I'm just here for the wings," you know?
He's the guy asking the women to put their clothes back on because he respects them too much.
Oh man, if he wasn't dating Anna Jay, I think he was an incel.
That's still a thing.
Why do you sound so disappointed?
No, I just genuinely haven't seen anything about it in so long. I just had no idea.
I presumably yes, but maybe not. But
okay, I think the way I was like had my hand on my face, that's why it sounded weird. I'm only slightly disappointed.
I understand. I enjoyed the match a lot. I marked out hard when Hook flipped Big Bill. It was such a good spot, especially because he had already tried earlier in the match. They sold it the week before that he could do it, but Big Bill was able to counter it, and he was able to finally hit it, and it was such a rewarding moment. I loved it.
Like I said, Taz popping for that was great. Just him yelling, "Pop the hips!"
One thing I got to talk about when it comes to Taz and Hook, Taz does his best to not sound like Hook's dad when he's on commentary.
Yeah, he does a really good job of it.
Like he tries to sound like he's a guy who knows Hook's history, but he doesn't try to sound overtly biased. And I love that.
I think he strikes a balance of, I think he just tries to acknowledge the fact that he's Hook's dad and try to put that to the side. Like he basically does in a way where he's like, I know you guys know this is my son, and I know you guys know that I can't help but be biased towards him, but I will try my best despite that.
I agree.
And he does it so well. It's almost, actually, no, I don't want to compare it to anything WWE related because commentary that I don't think Taz. I think Taz is actually a really, really good commentator. I think he's fantastic. But yeah, I think he does it great. Anyway, continue, James. I don't want to make the comparison, so go on.
So I enjoyed every aspect of this. I want to see Hook featured more. I think this was a nice in-between feud for the dastardly Jungle Boy after his evil acts against Luchasaurus. I'm trying for you guys, I promise.
Trying what? That you're just trying to tell the truth? It's
hard.
Shouldn't be that hard.
It is. But I'm excited for what comes next for all of these guys. I really want, like you said something, and I understand because in AEW, you're absolutely right. This is the best Big Bill has looked in AEW. I am somebody who was watching him in Impact as W. Morrissey, and the run he had there was incredible. It's just nobody watched it because it was Impact. There were dozens
or better
of us.
Name.
And see, I don't even know if I like W. Morrissey either, but like, I would have been fine with Big Bill Morrissey.
Yeah,
I think that would have been fine. But just Big Bill, he sounds like somebody who is probably bouncing at a club. But regardless.
Yeah, and not a good one.
Yeah. So I hope we get to see more out of him. And I'll even say, I think Lee Moriarty did his job very well tonight. I
totally forgot he was there.
I like him.
About this for so long.
Yeah, he's good, but he's young, so he's still like a little green. But I think he does well.
Yeah, I thought he showed a lot of athleticism. He was there to take the pin. We knew that going into this match.
Oh yeah,
I think he did his job just the right way, and I wouldn't be opposed to more Jungle Boy Hook because I will not say that tag name in the future sparingly.
Boy Hook,
not better.
Hook Boy.
Hook Boy sounds like a really shitty comic book character.
Perry Hook.
That's better. Hook Perry. Hook Perry actually sounds like a decent comic book character.
Jungle Taz.
Actually, to go back to the Taz point, I do like that he's been pointing out over the last 2 weeks that he had no idea Hook was even going to help Jungle Boy out. He's just like, oh, I didn't know he was going to do that. Like, they do a really good job establishing that while Taz is his father, like Taz, the announcer, and Hook, the wrestler. Well, I was going to say, no, I was going to say.
Hook doesn't talk to anyone,
especially his dad.
Family Counselor Jones. Do
you think Hook's ever been grounded? You think Taz ever had to be like, go to your room, Hook, and then Hook went to his room?
Yeah, probably, mostly because otherwise Taz would just put him in the Taz mission and he'd be out cold.
I that sounds like bad parenting.
Again, really Family Counselor Jones over here. No, I just like the idea that they separate. Okay, it's like, yeah, they're father and son, but there's Taz the announcer and Hook the wrestler, and they don't necessarily interact as much. At least talk shop. So I do like that premise. All right, let's keep it rolling here. After this, we had a backstage interview with Renee. She was talking to Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, and Renee then introduced her friend Paul Walter Hauser, who had won a Golden Globe the other night, which is cool. Renee asked if they could see the trophy, to which he responds that he will show it off on Rampage. Danhausen then calls him Paul Walter Hausen, and they joke about how they're probably related at some point. And then Paul, who's apparently a big fan of Orange Cassidy, asks if everything is cool with Trent and the Best Friends after their match for the All-Atlantic title, which got fairly testy. And then Trent and Chuck come up behind him and say that everything's fine. They're still best friends. They do the whole hands-in thing, and then somebody popped Renee there at the end.
she wasn't prepared for it to linger as long as it did.
Yeah, even Chuck broke. So
yeah.
It was a little goofy, but I think that's kind of how the best friends are. It's like when they're doing BTE bits and they always end up breaking.
Speaking of breaking, I'm getting really ready that I think they're going to break up. And
I hope not. But as we all know, Trent and Chuck are dicks in real life. So
well,
that's what it is.
Can I just say real quick, because I don't think we should really spend a lot of time in this segment because it was really awkward. This guy had a Golden Globe. He had a Golden Globe, right? Which, like, most of you guys probably don't know this, but that's like a Slammy Award for acting. You know, like it's a relatively decent accomplishment for people who act in movies, which are like fake, scripted, predetermined nonsense. So you shouldn't waste your time with. But this guy has an award for that shit. Could not tell by the delivery here, man. This was so bad. That's why I don't think you can chalk it up to the best friends was awkward. Like, no, it was this guy. Who is he?
You know what's crazy? I've watched him in several things, and that's how he acts too. He is an awkward guy. Like, he was in I, Tonya.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's in that. I think I saw he was in Stranger Things. I think he's in. I don't. Honestly, I've never seen this guy before in my life.
He has been in some big things, and it just he always plays a weird dude, and I think he's just very good at it.
Not here. This was not like the weird you're describing. Which
no, I agree.
Plenty of that. This was like, you know, to borrow a phrase from one of our own. This guy was like a fan who never spoke on camera before, and nothing hit. This was awkward. We're spending too much time in it, though, so I want to move on.
It was, but I enjoyed it.
Last thing I'll say, I really missed Chris Statlander. I could say, like, I really
do. Oh, absolutely, 100%.
We all do.
Chris Statlander so much.
James, do you know what he won the Golden Globe for?
Yes, Blackbird. It was a streaming movie starring Taron Egerton.
Ah, well, there it is. Okay. Where were we? So after that, we came back for commercial. Renee was halfway around the locker room at that point. She must have really sprinted fast. She was trying to get a word in with the Elite, but they weren't around. But she did mention that the main event match was the first Game 7 in the Forum since the Lakers in 1988. Which, I mean, as good as Staples Center is, the Lakers in the Forum was just something else. Anyway, after that, we were supposed to have Bryan Danielson versus Takeshita. But after Takeshita came out, MJF music hit and he interrupted everything. So he came down and just was an absolute dick to Takeshita, who then yelled at MJF in Japanese. MJF was like, buddy, if you want to be a main eventer, you got to speak English. And Takeshita
No. Wrong.
I honestly
so wrong. Oh my god.
One is just purely racist.
Oh, there's a lot of racism in this.
The other one is racist and silly. He said, if you want to be a big deal around here,
speak American. He did say American.
American. Get it right.
My apologies. I was just doing that one off the top of my head. Anyway, Takeshita then speaks American and tells MJF to kiss his ass. MJF then puts his hands on Takeshita, and Takeshita shoves him, which leads MJF to scream for Aubrey Edwards to take him out of the ring while MJF cut a promo. Then MJF says that everyone can ask their moms, sisters, and skank girlfriends if he can last an hour, because apparently he can. Very funny sex joke. He then starts going through all those celebrities in the crowd and roasting them, making fun of Ken Jeong for his TV show getting canceled a while back, and for Freddie Prinze Jr., who got a chance.
I love Freddie.
So do
Wait, hold on. I've had this interruption planned since the beginning. This is the main reason I'm here. Everyone loves to talk about how good of an announcer Excalibur is, and I agree. I don't have this over fondness for him that everyone else does. I just think he's really good, and I appreciate him. But he was the hero here because when MJF was making fun of Ken Jeong, he snuck it in. He snuck in the 6 seasons of the movie, and you know what? This is a wrestling podcast, but real quick, we're going to talk about it. Community is finally getting a movie. Ken Jeong was here. What amazing time. And it's Community being referenced on AEW. The crossover we absolutely needed, for sure. You know what the best fucking shitposting group I've ever come across on Facebook is? It is the Community Facebook group. So it was amazing. Excalibur, you're the man. I don't care what everyone else says about you, but they were right. Okay, you're fucking great, man. Thank you so much. And MJF did great. Just pointing it out, bringing Ken Jeong there. What a get for this show. This show was a big deal. Talking about how great Moxley and the Hangman was, and the Adam Cole return, making this main event for the title. This match we're about to talk about after this. There was so much that made the show feel special, but having Ken Jeong and Freddie Prinze Jr. there is really what took it over the edge. And sorry, now we're gonna do pretty much the same exact thing for Freddie Prinze Jr. And I'm sorry, I just want to, while I'm on this roll, I want to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
We got a live action Scooby-Doo reference on AEW television. Oh my God. Do you know how often I subconsciously or consciously reference that movie? Okay. I will never forget the training video where they had to talk, where they were showing the creatures how to blend in with teenagers, and they had an instruction video on how to act like a young teenager. And the two guys bumped into each other at the party. And the one guy was like, yo, my bad. And then the other guy was like, I will crush your bones into dust. Okay. You know how often I quote that? Not with the same anger and vigor as that guy, because I just don't ever get to that level. But all the time, that movie was so ahead of its time. It is and I use this term not lightly at all, and choose it I only talk about movies like Shrek 2 and Small Soldiers in this regard, but it's basically a cinematic masterpiece. Like, what more do you want? Simple Plan, what my favorite band as a fucking teenager, was all synonymous with Scooby-Doo. They did the What's New Scooby-Doo theme song. They did a song for this movie. They did a song for Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed. And they, so Scooby-Doo was a perfect movie. It had Linda Cardellini for all the Freaks and Geeks fans that did not exist at the time, but existed years later because it became a cult hit years later. It had all the Buffy fans going crazy. It had the Punky Brewster and She's All That fans going crazy. And it had Scream fans and all the other I can't even list the amount of beloved cult movies that Matthew Lillard was in, but it just brought together so many.
He's a lovely guy.
He's a lovely guy. It brings together so many fandoms, and then it delivers. It has so many good jokes for the adults. It has the stupid fart jokes for the kids. And it portrays Scrappy as the annoying piece of shit he's always been. Okay. And only one generation of morons believe that was a good character. The rest of us were smart enough to be like, this is the worst thing you've ever done. they should have never survived bringing Scrappy Doo into the Scooby Doo universe. They should have been done after that. Luckily, they survived and moved on. So Freddie is just synonymous with that. And the fact that he's a wrestling fan, so involved in the wrestling world, he knows, he brings so much insight. So even when he has some weird thoughts like pushing Carrier across as a top guy, we can forgive that because he gives us so much extra insight into the wrestling world and so much love. And this was across of 3 lovely communities: the Scooby-Doo fandom, the community fandom, and the AEW fan base, which is probably the most toxic of the 3, but even then it's still a relatively good fandom, just coming together in one. And then MJF shat on them and they sold it. They were way better than, I'm sorry, what was this guy's name from the Best Friend segment? What was his name?
It was Paul something.
Paul Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Exactly. Who you just said it is already gone. No idea. He was terrible. I can't believe he works in Hollywood. But these guys, these heroes, Dr. Ken Jeong, just amazing. So good. Unbelievable. Both of them have podcasts. I listen to one more than the other. I'm not going to say which one. You can guess because I've just praised them both heavily. So who knows? But
all right, Danny.
Amazing.
I think Danny needs a cigarette.
I was gonna say, go get some oxygen so you can breathe again. And I will finish what I was saying when Max turned to Freddie Prinze Jr.
He needed to hydrate.
He called him a supporting actor to a CGI dog and a Scooby-Dooby douchebag, which I got a real kick out of. Then MJF was going into "I'm better than you and you know it" shtick, but Brian's music hit before he was able to finish it, and Brian chased him out of the ring into the back. And then we finally had Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita. And I'm going to be honest, this is one of those matches I didn't really write any notes for because I was so engrossed by it. Yep. Because I was looking forward to this match last week. I was so hyped for this, so I just wanted to sit down and watch it. It absolutely fucking delivered. It was awesome. It was hard hitting. Takeshita looked like a fucking beast. This just flat out rocked. Brian eventually won when he ducked a flying knee from Takeshita, turned around, hit the psycho knee that Takeshita kicked out of. Brian then started stomping his fucking head in, locked in. What is the Regal what, James?
Regal stretch.
Regal stretch, thank you. And passed Takeshita out. After the match, Brian then took his hand and ended up raising it and praising him. So, James, this was, like I said, this was awesome. I absolutely loved it. It was super hard hitting. Brian's chest was cut open. I know his chest always looks like hamburger meat after every match now, but it was straight up cut. This was awesome. I thought they were going to knock each other out, like flat out.
Brian's chest at this point has the same consistency as Ric Flair's forehead. Like it's just,
or Devon's forehead.
Or Devon's forehead, or Moxley's
forehead. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for me a Coke.
I like you. I didn't really have any notes for this match just because I was so enthralled with it. But there was one aspect. There was one thing I said in our chat, and I'll repeat it here. This was the match. These were the types of matches that Brian signed with AEW for.
Oh yeah,
Brian. This is the type of match I want to watch Brian having. If Brian isn't going to be the world champion, if Brian isn't going to be a champion, I want to see Brian putting on clinics every week or as often as he can. And Takeshita, the perfect guy to have this match with. I feel bad for Takeshita because this is a guy who desperately needs a big win. And they keep hyping him up as a big deal, but I can't remember anything major he's won if he has. So I feel bad for him in that regard, but he's clearly endearing himself to the crowd. The crowd was hot for him, even like before the match started, and he was really showing him what he could do.
Oh, yeah.
Love this match. I'm very excited for Brian's match next week against Bandito. That's going to be fantastic.
Ooh, I missed that announcement. That's awesome.
And this is, I loved it. Again, I don't think anyone's going to look bad for tapping out to Bryan Danielson.
Or passing out for that matter.
No, like the passing out thing, like that's what I'm kind of complaining about a little bit. I miss tapping out. I miss seeing tap outs in wrestling. You know, someone saying, Jesus Christ, this guy is hurting me. I got to tap. Like, make Brian feel like he knows how to torque, not just that he kicked the guy's head in first and then decided to put him in submission, because easily he could get the 1, 2, 3 instead.
Yeah, I mean, the submission is almost superfluous at that point because
Exactly.
they're making it look like the guy's passed out because Brian stomped his fucking head in 10 times.
Exactly.
That's the point. That's the point of it, is that it's superfluous. Like that, if it was him wearing them down and then passing out every time, I would 100% agree with you. Because I still think, despite that, there's still too many pass outs and there should be more taps. I still kind of agree with you, but I think the way Brian does it is better than when like he passed out to Daniel Garcia, or he passed out to whoever else he's passed out to at this point, Chris Jericho. Like, I think there's too many pass outs in general, but I like the fact that he's doing it just for the fun of it, just to say I won via submission instead of pinfall. So, but I agree with the sentiment though.
You know, and that is a fair point that I didn't really take into consideration. But I'll
agree. Sorry to hop in. I'll agree too, because as I always bring things back to like MMA, you do get pass outs in MMA,
of course,
fairly consistently, but you also get tap outs just as consistently. But I almost feel differently in wrestling, where I almost feel like somebody passing out should be a much bigger deal. Like when Eddie passed out, I think it was to Mox. It was in defiance of him because he wasn't going to tap out to Moxley. Whereas I feel like when somebody's passing out every week, it kind of just loses that sort of luster, when the person just refuses to give in. Like, even like, and I'm going way back here, like when Bayley lost to Asuka, like she didn't tap out, she passed out. And it was such a big deal because, it was still Bayley, Hugger Bayley, and she wasn't going to give up. Like, those mean a lot more than a random guy passing out on a Wednesday. And I don't mean to call Takeshita a random guy, but you know what I mean.
We're also ignoring the biggest one of all, the Austin Bret Hart one.
Yeah.
That made Austin's career. And that moment, which made Austin's career, him defying tapping out, now it's just happening. And granted, again, I recognize you guys made a great point. It is different circumstances because Brian is just doing this to his opponents. But I agree with Danny. I do feel like it's happening across the board a little too much. But beyond that, I did want to touch on the segment a little bit. I agree with Danny. That was a beautiful segment. I love I think this was the best use of celebrities in the crowd in a long, long time across companies. I will say though, when it comes to MJF, this was the first time in a long time I was turned off by the promo. A lot of it felt cheap and like what Ricky Stark said a few weeks ago. It felt like such low-hanging fruit. I'm not even talking the celeb stuff, but the ring rat stuff, the
racism,
the vaguely racist comments. Like, I think MJF is one of the best promos in wrestling right now. He has time and again in the past used his recurring bits, like generational talent, all that stuff. But you knew he was better than that. And tonight, I don't think we got any of the really good stuff. It was just, other than the Scooby-Dooby douchebag and the Dr. Ken cancellation. But I don't know. A lot of it didn't hit for me, and it wasn't logical. You want Brian to lose. That is your whole goal. You don't want Brian to get to the number one contender spot. So why are you bringing down Brian's competition?
Yeah, like, why are you antagonizing him?
Exactly.
Like, if anything, you should be offering him an incentive to win. And I know Takeshita's a face, but like, even if MJF goes in there, be like, hey buddy, you beat Brian here, I'll throw you a little something on the side, like, cash wise.
Yeah. And
Takeshita would be like, no, fuck off, I'm just gonna win because I'm gonna win. That works. It makes more logical sense. MJF coming in and just antagonizing him for the sake of antagonizing him is fairly stupid. It makes him look dumb. I think rare.
I think the promo would have worked a lot better if the Takeshita stuff was out of it and all of it continued as is. He runs down the celebs. Even if he wants to do the ring rat stuff, fine. It's kind of becoming part of his character. Last week he had the chick in the crowd.
Yeah. The second they mentioned it was going to be a 60-minute Iron Man match, I knew the I can last for 60 minutes Ric Flair thing was coming. It was
Exactly.
no pun intended, but they were always going to do it.
But that's the point too. That low hanging fruit. That Ricky Starks spot should have been the perfect way to get him out of that. But it just feels like he's still going for the easy spots. And whatever. I loved him running away from Brian. That was pure comedy gold. The way he ran was hilarious.
Top tier slapstick.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. But I don't know. A lot of the earlier stuff just didn't work for me. But match was great. Looking forward to this feud. And I just want to say, Freddie Prinze Jr., all those things Danny said, agree. Also, one of my favorite Jedi of all time.
It's a good point. I do need Takeshita to get some wins. The man needs to get some wins. It's time. I want him to get pushed. I give him a TNT title run, or sorry, Danny, I know I keep bringing this up. Give him an All Atlantic Championship run. Like, the dude deserves to be built up and do something.
All right, real quick, Danny, who would you have beat Orange Cassidy for the title?
Oh,
He's gonna say nobody.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody.
Immediately took the piss out of that one.
Luchasaurus.
Damn it!
Not a bad shout.
No, that is a good one. That really is a good one.
It's a good, it's a good shout.
Okay. But I would like to rebut. I would like to just point out that James is wrong a couple times, if I may. Or actually, not really. But before I say that, I would like to say Ricky Starks cut a promo so good that James doesn't like MJF anymore. He cut a promo so good that fucking 4 weeks later, he is holding it against MJF. That's how good Ricky Starks is.
He's right. He's right.
Good, fantastic point.
But to be said, this promo didn't have to be blowaway. It didn't have to be the best. Also, do you not like the idea of, because you said, why is he bringing him down? He wants him to beat Brian. Yeah, and he said that. Just, can you not see MJF as a really bad fucking motivational speaker? Like, he's hyping someone. That's not his strong suit. Like, this was probably the most genuine attempt he's had trying to, because he wasn't trying to pull one over on Takeshita, so he couldn't pull out the good acting, like when he convinced Punk about being bullied as a kid, or other moments like that. He couldn't pull into that because he wasn't trying to get one over on him. He was being as sincere and genuine as possible. That's all he's capable of. So it doesn't have to be blowaway this time. The racism, that's like, I agree it's low hanging fruit, but I don't think he said anything like.
I don't think he said anything like offensive. Bad. I don't think he said anything that it's like, oh no, but it's just
very
it's
1960s.
I didn't hear him. I heard JBL.
That's the problem. Good. That's also a good shout. I
mean, JBL's a good promo, but very repetitive. So I get it. But I didn't care about that. That wasn't as bad as I think Jinder's promo against Shinsuke was worse than that. But
yeah, that was bad.
This didn't have to be the blowaway promo. It did its job. We got the hilarious image of him running away. So I'm not saying this was like a fantastic promo or anything, besides obviously the Freddie Prinze Jr. and Ken Jong stuff, which I don't want to get into again. But
here all night.
Yeah. But that was great. And the match was just fantastic. Borderline perfect. I don't know how it could have been better. I have no problem, like I already said, I have no problem with Brian getting wins that way because he's knocking them out and then pretending to make them pass out submission, which is a little heelish to do still, but it's just over. The kicks are over. So like, because I think it would be awkward to pin someone after that. So I actually think that looks better than just pinning them after that, because it's like, it's anticlimactic. So if you're going to be anticlimactic, you might as well do it in a showboaty way, So this was fantastic. Also, like real quick to add, because I said cinematic masterpieces, Scooby-Doo, Small Soldiers, Shrek 2. I want like to add Cabin in the Woods to that.
Cabin in the Woods is great.
But yeah, I have no problem with this. The match was so good. The promo was just, it was the cherry on top of the perfect match. Otherwise, we just had the match. It would have been great. So we got the promo first. We got to laugh a couple times. We got to, just add a little bit extra fun stuff. And then also, Kesha doesn't get to talk if that doesn't happen. Then he just wrestles the match and loses. But he got to talk beforehand. He got to say something and have the crowd pop. So this was a home run.
Yeah.
There was some. I don't know who Fool Death is, but welcome in. That rough bump that Brian took off of when he jumped off the ring apron, and then they found that was a rough bump. That's a great.
I genuinely thought he blew his knee out the way he.
I got nervous. I saw him tell Aubrey that he was okay, but it was scary. And then taking a brain buster on the outside, Brian, stop it, stop it.
She's not even a brain buster, sheer drop brain buster, like the good one.
Are you kidding me? This dude's like, bro, I'm back wrestling. Edge and Saraya are back wrestling. Cole came back tonight. There's no consequences. I'm going to do this.
I'd also like to hop back into the chat to thank Eric for reminding me about Ric Flair's 60-minute man. That's my line with Jay Lethal. You don't know what 60 minutes is. God, that is my favorite promo of all time. And I know certain people involved in that suck, but it's still so good. All right. So after that match, we had a backstage interview by Renee with Juice Robinson. Like we mentioned earlier, yes, he is actually in AEW, even though most of us forgot. He challenged Darby Allin to TNT, championship match on Rampage. So the TNT. On TNT. Rampage on TNT.
He made the challenge on TBS.
Yes.
To face him on TNT.
So much Turner. And then after that, we had Tony Storm and Saraya against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. So this match started some good back and forth. Nobody really had an upper hand till just about when it went to commercial, when I think Jamie and Britt got the upper hand. But more importantly, right before commercial, Shida came down, and she was in Tony and Saraya's corner. Then, so towards the end of the match, Britt and Jamie both hit rolling elbows to Tony, one from the front, one from behind. Then Saraya comes in to break up the pin. Britt and Saraya fight to the outside. Tony ends up hitting a Storm Zero on Jamie, but Britt comes back in to break that up. There's some more back and forth. Jamie and Tony lay each other out with elbows, and Britt and Saraya are still on the outside fighting. So Rebel decides that this is the opportune time to jump onto the apron to distract the referee. And while that's going on, Shida uses this opportunity to throw her kendo stick into the ring, presumably for Tony. Presumably. However, Britt notices this. She scrambles into the ring before either of the other two women can get up. She hits Tony with the kendo stick, tosses it back out of the ring. Jamie hits a haterade and picks up the win, as Shida looks on in just absolute shock at what ended up happening and what she did. So, good women's match. Just in a vacuum, I liked the match. We're getting some storyline with Shida here, but let's be honest. This was all overshadowed. And what up, John? This was all overshadowed by the rumored debut that did not happen of Mercedes Moné. Clearly, everybody thought she was coming. It was going to be here. She wasn't there. I do believe there were a smattering of boos after the match that there was no debut. So, James, if you want to talk about the match and itself, you can. Like I said, I enjoyed it for the most part. But I do think the story that will be surrounding this is the lack of Mercedes Moné.
I hate to cut you off, James, before you even start.
No, you don't.
I haven't done it in like 3 or 4 weeks. But,
more like 2 or 3 segments.
Real quick, John Blatner, please rewind like 10 minutes and listen to my rants about Freddie Jr. and Ken Jeong. But before that, look, James is just gonna hate on this, so you really should throw to me first, and then we go to him second. You know,
I have positive things to say. But there are just some complaints.
Also, you went first last time because you just hijacked the show to talk about Community in Scooby-Doo.
All right.
Go ahead, James.
I would like to say other than one very poorly worded promo and a wink and a nod to the boss stuff, which
that was on. I agree 100%. That's one of the things I was gonna say. This was on us.
Yes.
They never promoted it. They barely promoted this match at all since they first announced it. And they only had the sit down interview segment, not to set up the Sheeta story. The Sheeta story is a result of them being like, "Oh, we got to just announce who this is so that people stop thinking."
Exactly. I really can't blame AEW for this. I Brit a little bit, but not AEW. This is on us. Thank you, Danny.
I'm going to disagree. And I know we're getting into a habit of cutting James off right now, but I got to agree with Brian Alvarez here, where that was a pre-tape. It wasn't like she just did it. Somebody okayed her teasing this. So
I get that. But at the end of the day, it was one segment. It was one segment. And granted, they did very little when they were bringing in Punk. They let word of mouth do the work for that. But
this felt like that.
But Punk is the perfect example to use because, when the Elite returned after kicking down Punk's door and trying to jump himself on no, there's a point when they did that, right? And they all got suspended. The Elite came back first. And what did they do when they were in Chicago? They teased CM Punk shit nonstop. And granted that's them hamming it up for the crowd, but it's still like you shouldn't tease someone who's not something that's not going to happen and
I agree.
Not going to be there. And they did that there. So that's actually they just did something similar. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it in either case, really. Yeah. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying there's precedent for it in the company.
Darby teasing it. Brit teasing it.
Admittedly, with the Elite and Punk, we don't know that Punk isn't coming back at some point. But beyond that.
Oh, I was going more thinking when Punk came in.
I mentioned, that's where I was thinking.
Yeah, like Darby said best in the world and Brit said the boss. Like they were parallels there.
Yeah.
But Jamie's right. Like this is on us.
Yeah, no, it was, I'm upset, but take Mercedes out of it.
Yeah.
They clearly set up Sheeta being upset on last week's Dynamite.
Yes.
She tweeted about it. And now if there's going to be a turn, it's going to be some wonky half turn or something that's going to be dragged out when they could have easily just had her purposely vindictively slide that kendo stick to Britt or to Vader. And now it's, oh no, what did I do? So either she's lying now about her reaction and why, or she didn't mean to do it and this is just weird and it's gonna, maybe she'll turn heel. Maybe, when we've been wanting her to turn heel for like a year now.
Speak for yourself.
No, sir, I love Sheeta, but are you going to tell me that Yakuza boss Sheeta isn't going to get you to go fucking crazy too? Because I know I'm in for it.
You're not wrong. I'm not going to boo Sheeta no matter what she does. So, but I will agree with you. This was poorly done because it just also seems very out of character for her, especially, even if she's going heel, fine, go heel, slide it to Britt or Jamie and go for it. But this middle of the road thing, Sheeta trying to cheat makes no sense to her character. So even if she's trying to help Tony, because Tony wouldn't cheat either, I don't think. Yeah. So it's really weird and out of character. And I just don't understand why, if they are indeed turning Sheeta, that they would do it this way.
I completely agree.
I agree, except for, I think Tony is less likely to cheat than Sheeta because, Sheeta does set up a chair to jump on. And granted, she doesn't hit the person with the chair, but, she also comes out with a kendo stick and that gets involved a lot. But I agree in general, I'm just jokingly pointing it out. But Sheeta not looking great in this aside. I still thought the match was good.
I enjoyed it.
I do too.
I think, again, I'm going to give the props to the crowd because for once, the crowd didn't die for the women's segment because, one, the tag match was at least hyped up. And yes, they were expecting a debut. And yes, they were a little bit of a baby when they didn't get the debut. And you know what? Fine with that. And I know that you hate Australians, James, and you hate Tony Storm as a direct result of that. Or maybe you hate Australians because you hate Tony Storm. Either way, I just know you hate Australians.
I love Australians. I want to go to Australia so badly.
Do you mind?
I do.
Just so you can appropriate their accent and make fun of them. I gotcha. I understand. But you hate British people, you hate Australians. You can't tell the accents apart, I assume. And you hate Japanese currency. But
he does. He does. Or
what?
Where? He does.
Me? No, I didn't say anything about that.
I said they were draws.
I just said they were called yen.
Anyway, but I'm glad Tony was in the match because I think she's gotten the worst deal out of all this. Like, I'll give some credit. I really thought the hater popularity would die down after the title reign because that was kind of a trend of people getting over, accomplish something, and then it dies down. But it hasn't, and that's cool. But at the same time, we're still getting no progression with her and Britt. In fact, the fact they're getting along better than ever is literally the same thing as Daniel Garcia just rejoining JAS and being like, yeah, everything's fine now.
No, I disagree. I really like the fact that there are finally two friends in wrestling who were able to work past what happened to them and like they're actually supporting each other. It's really good. They're going to turn eventually, but I like it right now. Like, let's just let it go for now. It's great.
Let it go for now. It's been like fucking 2 years, it feels like.
Well, I mean, Jamie just got the title. Like, let it go for a little while with the title. Whatever. I like it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like it as it's. I like them getting along is nice. Yeah, I like them as a team. But like, if we didn't have all the will they, won't they stuff before then, I would like it more. Or if we had this months ago, it would have been great. But anyway, my point was to get back to it that I think Toni Storm was great in this match. I thought Saraya was really good, considering that she was very limited in this match, which I think was, a good thing to do, being her only second match in.
She looked better than her first one. Like I think you can still tell she's I think you can still tell she's like a step, maybe not even a step, but like a half a step too slow. But like she's definitely looking better. It's something I noticed. One of the few things, like nitpicky things I had with this match.
Yeah, but so I also have not a huge problem with the heels winning because I kind of always felt like they would. But again, I just feel like there was more to be done if the faces won. Because the heels won. Who's Jamie going to defend her title against? When's she going to have a feud for the title, and who's it going to be against? You could have had Toni Storm pin her, and yes, it would be a rematch, but Toni Storm never got a rematch, and she got screwed heavily because of a lot of cheating. So you could have done that. You could have had Storm pin Hater. I know we don't want to pin champions, and I don't normally advocate for that, except for the 1 or 2 times I do. But like, you could have done it. Then obviously Hater would retain, but she could have lost because her and Britt had a miscommunication. Something didn't go right. Sow those seeds. So you're setting up Hater for anything. Now she's set up for absolutely nothing. Or you could have had Storm or Saraya pin Britt, and then Hater just be a little like, oh, like you're the weak link of this team. Like it's actually you that's been the weak link of this team. You could have planted seeds for the inevitable Britt Hater split. You could have done it, and you could have set up Hater for anything. Because now, where does anyone go from here? I assume Saraya and Britt are going to have a rubber match, even though this is a tag match. I assume there will be a third match between them in some shape or form. Yeah. But especially if Shida is going to turn heel, what does Hater do? So now none of it's about, you're loving them teaming up, but now none of it's about Hater.
Yeah. I do think that's probably going to be the story moving forward, but I also think Saraya just is the one to go against Hater now.
And that would have been, why not have her win the match then? To give her some wins going into that make her.
Not to mention she's only wrestled twice and she's now got a 1-1
record.
But
if she pins Hater in the match because Britt messes up, then she can face her. Hater can beat Saraya, And then again, you still plant the same seeds of like, oh, you're weighing me down. You're the problem here.
Yeah.
For Britt, but it's okay that they won. But it's just because the Sheeta stuff was so clunky and like weird. If Sheeta had just full turned heel, I'm not saying any of this because I'm like, oh, we're having some originals versus newcomers. Then you bring Mercedes Moné into this, because obviously she's obviously going to be there after this match is over, like then we got something going. Oh God, I don't want it. I'm still holding out for Statlander to come back and win it, but I feel like but that being said, I thought the match was really fun. I thought everyone looked pretty good. I think we could say definitively that James and Chad are wrong and that Tony Storm is really good. And you guys were just doing that as a bit, and I get that because I deserve to have bits done back at me, and by all means, come at me, bro. But like, Tony Storm is really good. He's a really good wrestler. And also, this random, I did a marathon of AEW recently, and she had one of the best interviews with RJ City. So,
she was really good on that. I agree with a lot of that actually. I don't know. It is weird where we don't know where Jamie's going to end up going. I combine Jamie. I combine Jamie and Hayter backwards somehow. But yeah, we don't know where Jamie's going to end up going, like which path she's going to be on. I don't think that Britt stuff's going to happen at least for a little while longer. And then the face side, like, we'll see what happens with Sheeta and Tony and Saraya and stuff. It seems like they're kind of keeping Saraya, not maybe a special attraction, but she hadn't really been in AEW since Full Gear until this whole feud started. So we'll see where she ends up going there. I will say two more things about this. One, I do think the crowd was a bit more involved, not just because of who was in it, because all four of these women are very over, along with Sheeta, who's on the outside, but it wasn't in the time slot of death. Like it wasn't the 9:40 time slot. It was actually came out around 9:15, 9:20. So that ended up helping. The next segment we're going to talk about was in the time slot of death. The other thing was I did feel a little bad they had to follow Brian versus Takeshita, because just the juxtaposition of the hard hittingness of that match to this one, where it looked fun, they looked great, but they weren't necessarily laying it in like those two guys were. It was just an odd juxtaposition between the two.
That's
I was
fair.
like, man, like they're not, it doesn't really look like they're hitting. And it's only because they had to follow these guys. So I think that would happen with any match that followed those two guys, or almost any match. But
I would like to make one hyperbolic note about that though. Tony Storm's hip attack looks so violent.
She's got one of the best ones.
Way better than the Usos. You guys drink too much to fucking get that kind of speed and force behind it. If it was a car, sure, But
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
I didn't plan it, but I was like, I have to fucking say it.
You really drove yourself into that.
I just had to. Yeah, I literally drove myself into that. Absolutely. I have the jacket and everything. But so that was the one case in the match where I'm like, that was very, very hard hitting.
It's like
that
her
was always violent.
And Asuka, I think, have the best too right now.
No, Asuka's doesn't compare. Asuka's doesn't even compare, because Tony Storm does it when they're in the corner, and Asuka does it like when they're on the ropes, and it just it'll never look as violent as Hod.
Yeah, she
doesn't really do her corner one that often.
Used to.
Like,
I think
she mostly does
stopped.
the one where she lands in the ropes like that, like sitting in them.
I think she used to do a corner one sometimes, but now she's more transitioned to doing that rope one. But yeah, Tony's got the best one by far. I can't even think of a better one, because she's full sprint into that fucking turnbuckle. So it's really cool. All right. So after that, we then had a quick backstage promo from Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, amongst all the promotion for Rampage. I was trying not to say promo, so I just didn't work out. Anyway, they've got a match against House of Black, because the House of Black is playing a bunch of mind games with them and sowing a lot of distrust between the two of them. So they're kind of mad at each other, and they'll be having that match on Friday. And then after that, we had the Jericho Appreciation Society in-ring promo, which ended up being one of the funniest messes I have ever watched. Like, it was great, and it was fairly cohesive, but it was great. I love it. Anyway, so they all come out in gold jackets and rip their tearaway pants off when they all get in the ring. which was great. Cool Hand Luke is having a great hair day. Daddy Magic yelled a bunch of shit, and eventually Jericho gets on the microphone, brags about their appearance at PWG Battle of Los Angeles the other week, which was really cool actually. And he brags about how they ended up taking out Ricky Starks, and Action Andretti last week, putting Starks through a table. And then, oh look, it's Ricky Starks and Action Andretti. I guess they weren't as taken out as Jericho thought. Action hops on the mic. He disses Jericho, which prompts Garcia to yell something about Action shutting up. And then Action responds that he didn't know that his babysitter, Sammy, had allowed Garcia to talk, which really pisses Garcia off. And then he says it makes sense because Sammy can't even control his wife, which really set Sammy off. And then he said, Sammy, didn't you see last week where your wife's hands were, because they were in between my legs? Which, sick burn, bro. She punched you in the nuts. It wasn't that good of a burn as you think it was. So whatever. Anyway,
it was awful.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, sick burn, dude. So then then Ricky tells Jericho to move his wide body ass out of the way so he could talk to Jake Hager. Ricky then says that Hager used to be atop the college wrestling ranks, but ever since he's joined Jericho, he's been reduced to the village idiot, and a couple other insults about his lisp. Ricky then tells Hager that they'll be fighting next week on Dynamite. Hager responds that he likes his hat and that he's an undefeated MMA fighter, and he knows Ricky has balls because he can see them in Ricky's white pants. And then he says he's going to slap Ricky's face off of his face. Ricky says, I'll do you one better, you idiot, and says he's going to fix his lisp next week. So a lot of good insults in this, Danny, but this was an absolute fucking train wreck. I would also like to point out at part of this, when Daniel Garcia was going to talk, his mic was dead in the ring, and Jericho just real subtly slipped him the live mic, and it was the smoothest thing I saw all night. Go ahead, Danny.
It really was the smoothest freaking thing. But also I'd like to add, for their entrance, both on the ramp and in the ring, they turned around facing away from the camera and then turned back around in unison.
Oh yeah, they did the Temptations spin.
Yeah, it was very nice. I said it earlier that the Acclaimed is doing sports entertainment better than the Jericho Appreciation Society, but this is the first time in a while where they're doing sports entertainment. Like, this was good. Yeah, this promo was a fucking mess, but they should be doing shit like this. The stupid matching outfits for the entrance, adding a twirl to it. Those little touches. How good was it to see the whole fucking group in the ring together with Anna and Tay and Fuckboy and Danny Garcia, who shouldn't be there, but still.
I was saying Fuckboy. You're gonna have to be more specific.
You know who?
I know.
Jake Hager.
And Jake, promo of his life, man. He has once again, look, Jake Hager is a more entertaining Baron Corbin. Can we agree on that? And I like Baron Corbin, but Hager has 2-3 different times gotten something over, right? Real Americans were over. We the People was an over thing. Got over, and now he has another simple one-line catchphrase that it's over. The crowd said it with him. They popped for it. Okay,
He's very good at that. He finds his thing and he runs with it until the well runs dry. But he's really good at just finding his thing, running with it, and executing it well.
Someone tells him his thing and he runs with it, and sometimes it works. 7 out of 10 times it doesn't. But what has Corbin ever gotten over? I don't want to
depression.
Yeah, the depression thing was pretty over.
Yeah, and they've ruined it. I was so that was the fucking most interesting thing he'll ever do. It'll never be better than that. But at least Hager's, I'll never get invested like that and then disappointed, because that's the beauty of Hager, is that I don't even have one foot in the door, bro. I'm looking through the window and I chuckle, and then that's it. And then it's done.
Corbin did briefly get the fact that his chest and stomach look like a face over. but that was by accident.
Did he get that over? Or did someone else get that over?
The smarky ass NXT crowd got it over.
We do not body shame here.
I'm not body shaming. I'm stating a fact. That is what happened. And then Enzo was like, bro, oh no, that was Owens. But somebody was like, you should probably wrestle in a shirt. And he went, that's a good idea. And it ended up working out great for him.
You just said that his torso looked like a deflated clown balloon, and that's not cool.
That's not what I said. I said it looked like a face. It sounded like
it. Danny, that's what he said, right?
I said the crowd said it looked like a face.
And you'll hear exactly what he said. Anyway.
To hop in, Eric, yes, Jericho just screaming whatever Ty screamed into the microphone was really funny. I'm pretty sure she was yelling, I am the she fight. Yeah, she was like, I am the street fight. And Jericho's like, street is the street fight. That was, again, just adding to this absolute train wreck and of hilarity.
And it is. And you know what? I don't actually fully believe in the Hager Corbin stuff I just said. But like, because I feel like I'm always actually praising Corbin, but like, he's just not, he's boring, but like, he's a good wrestler. But Hager, again, I give him his props. He has his little things to get over, and yeah, he's probably a shitty person. I have no doubt about that. Okay, and do you guys think when Hager goes to the border, do you think he just yells at people not to cross it, or do you think he actually chases them? You don't have to answer that. But anyway, what Eric brought up, which is accidentally, is a great point, and you're not gonna like it, but by Tay yelling that out, she's essentially the female Jake Hager in this context. And that's the thing she's trying to get over. It's not going to work because she butchered it, because she didn't speak into the microphone, and then Jericho had to reemphasize it. But yeah, that was she's the Jake, she's the female Jake Hager of the group.
Hey, hang on, James, are you brushing or combing your beard right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Danny, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I my beard brush is out of reach, so I can't join him. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, that was it. The segment was a fun mess. I love Jericho. Again, Hager had the best line of the promo. He's like, I know you have balls. I can see them in your white pants. That line is better than him. He should not have been the one to say that.
I agree.
He should not, like, that was way too good for it.
Jericho fed him that one. Jericho absolutely fed him that.
That should have been a Daddy Magic line. That should have been a Guevara line, maybe a Jericho line.
That should have been, first of all, Matt Bernard talking about what gets his nipples hard. It's just so good. How did I thought?
Oh, you want a taste?
Yeah, but can you say what he said? We want to know what gets your nipples hard, but in his voice,
Yes.
Is it when the Giants win a game, or when
Jet fan.
Notre Dame wins when James loses in fantasy football, does that get your nipples hard?
James did not come in last place. I can confirm that. James is not the Divas champion.
Way to go, Taco. But
I won 2 championships this season.
Way to go, Taco. Pretty sure he won 2. But yeah, there you go. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. It wasn't good, but it was so fun. It was so fun. Anyway, James, do you have opinions? Do you want? This is the last thing, so yeah, we should probably bring it home.
James and I just had a very inside baseball joke there. Go ahead,
I genuinely didn't hear it, so it's fine.
It's fine.
I guess
it's fine. He's never gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was initially kind of resentful of the promo simply because I just kept thinking they're taking time away from the main event and taking time away from the main event. But it was fun. It was a train wreck. I am so grateful they didn't let Anna Jay speak. Ty is way better than this, but man, she is the Hager of the group, the female Hager of the group, which is
at least they're wrestling again. By the way, the Ty and Anna, like at least they're wrestling again, and not just
exactly. Also, I will say I will defend her against my own criticism. At least in her case, English is her second language, so her not being great at promos is understandable. And also, like Rev said, they're wrestling again. Last New Year's Eve, that street fight they had with the Bunny and Penelope Ford was fucking awesome. So
yeah, it was a great match.
if they have anything like that with Ruby and Willow, fuck, by all means, they'll be the best tag team in Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah, they honestly, and not to cut you off, James, or change the topic, but the Rampages as a part of this like overhaul of AEW, Tony Khan said they're going to be better cards. And quite frankly, I haven't watched last week's. I really want to, because apparently everything between that and the Battle of the Belts was phenomenal. And this card looks really good coming up here too. So this street fight looks good.
I will definitely see myself recording Rampage.
Yeah, or at least hopping it on, on demand or something.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know about
watching it at 10 o'clock on a Friday night.
At 10 o'clock on a Friday night. Yep. But again, I will definitely try to tune in when it seems like it's going to be big, and they're treating them like they're big. But fun stuff. Ricky Starks genuinely feels like a star now. Like he felt like a guy you liked before who just wasn't there. He feels like a star now.
Also, he called Jericho Dracula again because he again referencing how he sucks on to people. It's so good. Anyway, continue.
I mean, like Danny said earlier, James, Ricky Starks is so good that he made you not like MJF.
It's true.
Yeah, James, I don't want to cut you off again, but go ahead, James. Please finish your point.
I hate you both. The one thing I will say about this promo that just felt weird, it felt like a bunch of guys in real life trying to insult each other who just aren't capable of speaking. Like it felt like a normal argument between not so smart people at like a grocery store or something. Like, you took my spot, dude. I'm gonna slap your face off your face. And it's no.
Oh, it I'm gonna make you look like Ellsworth.
Do you think that when Ricky Starks goes to a party and there's a valet, do you think he gets out of his obviously convertible and tosses the keys to the valet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he tosses it and then does the
That's how he tosses it.
It's 100% what happens.
Yep.
Also, Ricky and Sammy, I think, are pretty decent friends backstage, so I'm not surprised they went after each other like that. But yeah, unless you guys have anything else to say about this, that was Dynamite. Again, what are we on, week 3 now or week 2 now of the new year? Week 2 now of the new year. Sorry, I have trouble keeping track. And I think now for 2 weeks in a row, James, we've had really good Dynamites.
I agree. I think this show definitely felt more like this is a statement show. They had the Elite. They had Hangman Page. They had the return of Adam Cole. They had Jon Moxley. They had a good to great women's match. They really put their best foot forward for this, and I understand why. I mean, last week, it just so was the first week of the year, and LA just was booked for the second week. But man, this felt like the new direction of AEW, and I'm really hyped for it. I'm really happy about it. And I'm excited for next week's show. I think next week's Dynamite is booked pretty strong. And yay us as fans.
Yeah. Like we were saying last week, that episode almost felt like the go-home show for this week. And then this week absolutely delivered. So we've had, like I said, 2 great back-to-back weeks, Danny.
Yeah, we really have. And, no pressure, Tony, no pressure, AEW. But, if you keep this up, this will be your best year of Dynamite ever. You had the first 2 innings smooth, no hits given up, no walks. Keep it up, man. Just go for the perfect year. It's never been done before, but you can do it if you keep it up at this pace. Just don't have any bad shows from now to the end of the year, and boom, there you go. And
only 50 weeks to go.
Yeah, right. 50 more.
And the only criticisms that you'll have of the show would be that someone that was never going to be there wasn't there. And to that, I say, just give it time, guys. She will actually be there. She was good. I'm going to tell you guys what happened. Look, and maybe we'll talk to some of our guys that we know. We'll try to get some confirmation. So this is speculation, but I can almost guarantee that this is the truth. And this is why Mercedes did not debut on Dynamite. She was going to, for all intents and purposes, I don't think she was going to wrestle, but I think she was probably going to come out after the match because, like someone in our group said, it would be weird for her to wrestle and not promote it beforehand. And you wouldn't have her wrestle for AEW before she wrestles for New Japan because that's where she debuted. All that makes perfect sense. But she probably was going to debut after the match. But with everything going on up north, with Stephanie McMahon resigning from WWE, they were like, oh, we cannot have her debut right now. Because what better way to have Mercedes Moné, formerly Sasha Banks, debut in any company on any roster than by having Stephanie McMahon come out first and then introduce her and reinvent women's wrestling in AEW. And that's why she wasn't on the show, because now they're like, we got to wait. I assume there's some sort of clause where she can't appear on any wrestling TV for at least 30 to 90 days, so they're waiting. That's the long game here. That's why she wasn't on the show. So New Japan's going to have her for a couple months, and then we're going to get her in AEW along with Stephanie McMahon as her manager. So there you go. When you hear that on Wrestling Observer tomorrow, or probably 2 or 3 days from now, they're probably going to get that info right away. But when they do get that info presented to you, remember that you heard it here first. Okay. I swear on James's beard. That is what happened.
You know what? I want to hate that so much. But the amount of nuclear heat that motherfucking Stephanie McMahon would get in AEW. Oh my God. I just want to see it. Like, I don't want to because I hate it so much, but I almost want to see it just to see how much she would get booed.
It's going to happen. That's the plan. That's how they're going to bring her in. And we're walking a tightrope. Again, I feel like I'm leaking too much for you guys, and I'm just going to ruin the year of AEW television for you, or possibly WWE television. But we're walking a tightrope right now with WWE, right? Everyone thinks the grass is greener, but all of a sudden Vince McMahon's back, and potentially Saudi Arabia is interested in buying the company. And yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but that felt more like hey, how would you guys feel about this than
trial
this
balloon.
Is a wild rumor,
Good old trial balloon.
So we're in a tightrope here. So that being said, maybe some of the people want to jump ship don't want to jump ship anymore. Maybe the Malachi Blacks of the world don't want to go back. Maybe the Andrades of the world don't want to go back. So maybe if the Andrades of the world don't want to go back, maybe when Stephanie announces that Sasha Banks was going to be there, she will also announce the debut of Charlotte Flair in AEW. And then the women's division will be saved and then ruined in one night. In just one night, it'll be saved for about 3 minutes after Sasha comes out, and then Charlotte will debut. And then because she's like, oh, I want to do what Sasha's doing or what Mercedes is doing. I want to do what FTR is doing. Bailey's going to jump ship. And then 3 of the 4 horsemen will be Becky's not going to jump ship. I'm not going to pull your wool over your guys' eyes and make you think that Becky is going to go to AEW. Her and Seth aren't going anywhere. But yeah, that's what's going to happen this year, guys. So get ready for that.
He's doing this, guys. He's doing this, guys. So we have another clip about poor predictions like we did with Charlotte.
Guys, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on social media. Tweet at us. We always answer tweets. We have all that in the description, TikTok included. And yeah, we're pushing to 500 subscribers. We're almost there. Thank you guys so much for that. We're getting there. Have a good night. Be nice to animals. Anything else, Rev, before we go home on this? I feel like we covered everything.
I guess I don't have to do my outro, but thanks for watching, everybody. Like Danny said, do all that stuff. Like, subscribe.
Oh, last thing, guys. Shane McMahon will also debut too. That's the other part.
No.
Yeah.
I will actually, before we do go, Eric in the chat put this in there, and I did double check it. Apparently, FTR has been granted a few months off, so we're not going to be seeing them for a little while, but we will discuss that more on our podcast, which will be coming out tomorrow. So like Danny said, like, subscribe, and you can hear us talk all about that tomorrow morning. That's usually when it comes out. So also check out all the social media stuff. I'm literally just repeating everything Danny said, but I usually end the show and I was a little thrown off. So For Danny Hernandez and James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you here next time on the Market Down Podcast. Have a good night, everyone.